Greetings and welcome to the mid-season recap of the 2018 National Rifle League season. This is kind of like the halftime show for the season that's transpired so far. I'm Tyler Frainer, Director of Match Operations, and we're about to recap what's happened so far in the season and what is about to happen with the rest of the season. With me is President of the National Rifle League, Travis Ashita, and our new member of the National Rifle League Board. This is Greg Pyatt, who is the Chair of Analytics and Statistics. I like to think of myself as a scary judge of talent, but in reality I'm just lazy and I find people who are better at things than I am. So, ever since I've met Greg, I brought him into my life to take over more and more responsibilities, and that means I don't have to do them anymore. With that having been said, let's talk briefly about the matches that have occurred so far in the season.
Our first match was in North Carolina. You attended that one, right?
We both attended that one.
Yes, we did.
Janae and I flew out, and then Travis and some of his team from Contingency X came out.
Sure.
I, for one, it was the first time I had ever been in North Carolina, or as the locals refer to it as
North Kakalaki.
North Kakalaki.
North Kakalaki.
We had a tremendous time. Paul Smith is one hell of a match director. His courses of fire are second to none. Had a bunch of amazing different stages that I had never, for one, experienced, and the talent out there is certainly present. It was our first venture into the East Coast. Certainly think it was a successful one, and we are excited to have Paul Smith on board for the 2019 season.
Yeah, I personally, it was a great match. A lot of switch wins. They had some unique weather, beautiful facility, great food, great people, just a standout match.
But I mean, I'll tell you what, you know, the bell curve of the shooters' scores after the fact was almost spot on about what it was supposed to be. I was impressed with the whole thing. The only thing that I would take away from North Kakalaki is barbecue sauce is not made from vinegar. I don't think.
Yeah, I agree. It was good, but not the same.
So yeah,
where were we stat-wise?
Well, looking at the numbers, so if we think about how that score distribution is, and remember every National Rifle League match, the points are based on the percentage essentially of the top shooter. So if we look at what the best shooter did as far as points go, it was a broad spectrum all the way across. We did have a little peak right around 65 to 75 percentage points, so 75 to 65 points, but we also had people that were very much challenged down at the bottom end as well. So it was a broad distribution of scores all the way across. So it wasn't really easy where everybody was up at the top. So overall, I mean, I think it was a well-balanced match just looking at the numbers. And we had the Bighorn Steel Classic after that. Unfortunately, I missed that one as well in Nebraska.
So Nebraska was a fun match, again, a new match for the NRL. Chaz and his team over there did a great job. My first time ever playing in a cornfield. Overall, I thought it was a great first impression from the boys out there at the Bighorn Steel Classic. This
one was laid out points-wise when you're just looking at the stats. It was probably the closest thing to a bell curve I've seen at any of the matches that I've analyzed. We had a couple shooters right at the top, a couple shooters on the lower end, and a big distribution right in the middle in that 60% range. So it was really a good distribution of scores there. We had the Monster Lake Mayhem in Wyoming after that, Gunwerks.
The Monster Lake Mayhem, that was probably, besides the match, probably one of the funnest matches I've been to as far as the people that attended. Great group of guys, beautiful facility. The Gunwerks team, they definitely, at that time, was being headed by Scott Satterley, was the match director. Philip Vallejo's taken over now. But Scott put on an awesome course of fire. It was a lot of fun, a lot of positional. It's one of those matches that I think was a little bit underrated. Like not enough people were familiar with it. So the attendance wasn't quite where we wanted it, but it was still qualified as a match, 60+ shooters. And I think it was a lot of fun.
So it was an even spread across the board, but there was a peak. So a good percentage of the shooters were right around that magic 75 to 65 percentage points. So that's where a good portion of the people landed, but there was a couple people right at the top, a couple people down at the bottom, but it was a bit tighter of a bell curve than, let's say, the previous match with the Bighorn Steel Classic. Well, I know match 4 I went to, the Owens Armory Battle Royale.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I had a blast. What did you guys think about it?
Owens have always done the NRL proud. They've been with us since the beginning. They have an excellent team. Nick Owens, Chris Tressler, and Thomas, they do an awesome job. Switch of venue this year.
Yeah. Yes.
Last year, Gunsight, tremendous match, awesome match. This year, Big Sandy.
Yeah.
Also, very, very good time. And with that change of venue, brought a change of conditions. You know, no real big towns close by. So a lot of us went out there and camped together, and Travis got the good idea of putting a potluck together, which I don't know, was I thought it was one of the coolest, like kind of I don't know what you want to say, like intimate of all the shooters getting together and hanging out together. I thought that was a good time. Force of Fire, great. I had another tremendous time in Arizona.
And that wind was not friendly.
I had a day 2 where it was almost like Will Ferrell in Old School, where he woke up after the fact. He's like, what happened? So yeah, wind worked out for me on that day, but not so much some other people.
If you look at the numbers, we had a couple people way high, but we almost had 2 curves as far as scores go. So right around 70-75%, we had a peak of where shooters landed, but we also had a peak down in the 30% range. So there was a group of people that really struggle, and that was that switchy wind I just mentioned before. And it really showed here. Some people just weren't used to doing the corrections that fast. Well, after that, we had the JC Target Challenge presented by Caracal. Right?
Yes.
And then, so we had the Caracal chopper out again.
Caracal chopper was out once again in full force. Thank you very much, you guys from Caracal. That was amazing. Definitely, I think, one of the most sought after matches right now in the NRL.
It was spread out. I mean, there was a good group of people right in the top, a nice curve all the way around with people kind of spread out in that 70% range. But down at the bottom, there were very few people. So he had a good challenging course of fire that looks at where everybody at least got a good amount of hits for the most part. So it was good in that respect. So you didn't have anybody that barely hit anything and were miserable at the end of the shoot. After that, we had our foul bore precision silent night. So this was our first NRL night match.
Yes.
And I drove out there with 2 of my buddies and scared to death because of the Oklahoma wind, because I was warned about that, and we did shoot with wind turbines and all that stuff. So
this was one of the matches that I shot. I was fortunate to shoot a couple matches so far this year, and the wind was definitely a lot nicer than what I was warned of.
Yeah, but with that said, they did have larger targets because it was nighttime, and with that, it had a little more leeway, so if you aren't quite as steady. It was a good mix of positional and prone shooting, but our percentages were right around 80-85% for most of the people. There were some people that were on the lower spectrum as well, so some people did get challenged to the point where they had a low number of hits, but it wasn't a lot of people that showed up, relatively speaking. We didn't have 100 shooters, I think we had about 65 right around there. But a lot of people were like me and scared. Nighttime and Oklahoma, oh my God, what do I do? But it was a good match overall. See, after that, we had our second North Carolina match. So another East Coast match.
Yeah, we were not in attendance to that. Traveling to the East Coast is something I think that we all wanted to do, but we all have day jobs and it's money limiting.
Also, they had that big storm hit that whole eastern coast that week.
Yeah.
Which made it very hard to travel.
Yeah. Looking at the numbers, attendance was on the lower side, but weather was probably a huge factor of that.
Right.
And there were 2 guys that kind of walked away compared to everybody else. So we had 2 guys that were vying for that top spot, and a lot of the people were in the 60-65% area. So again, right around that magic number is kind of where a lot of people land. So the course of fire is balanced, but there was a couple guys that are like the curve busters.
Right. Always those 2.
Yeah, there's always those guys we swear at, Jake Bibber.
Show up and screw the points up for everybody. Thanks.
Thanks. And then after that, we had probably this one sold out the fastest, the Dog Valley Precision Challenge presented by Vudoo in Utah.
Cole Kornberg has really he's really done a good job with his match. He absolutely puts 110% effort into his match. His prize table is tremendous. His course of fire is very good. Has a good group of volunteers that show up to help out. and it's quickly becoming what I like to think is one of the flagship shoots of the National Rifle League, and we're super proud of Cole, super proud to have Dog Valley as you know, representing us.
How long did that one take to sell out? It was quick.
Not very long.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the fastest at the time,
yeah.
if not the fastest, between him and JC Steele.
And he did have wait lists and wait lists and wait lists. You know, I all the time I was fielding calls of like, hey, you know, what's the status on getting into Dog Valley? And hey, I'm sorry, you know, you need to be on your game to get in some of these matches, and you weren't.
So I know, looking at these numbers, I don't know how he did it, but he had a couple people right at the top, a huge distribution of people in the 60 to 80% range, and a very few amount of people down in the below 50% percentage. So he made a course of fire that allowed people to get a lot of hits, but also challenge those top people so they couldn't walk away. And I don't know how he made that course of fire. I shot Dog Valley last year. It kicked my behind. I shot it this year. It kicked my behind, but not as much, maybe. It definitely didn't feel like it. But yeah, I mean, people got hits, and I had a great time. And the last match that we've shot so far this season, but we got more coming, I swear, is the High Country Precision in Colorado. I was there, even though you may not know by looking at the score sheet. It was a good course of fire, kind of actually three different locations. So the first day was split up into 2 zones, and you go to one zone, you go to the other zone, and then the second day we all went to a 3rd zone. And I got my truck stuck. Yeah, I did.
Which we got on camera.
Yeah, and I tore that up a little bit.
But you came back and you
I
finished
came back
it,
finally.
yeah.
I repaired my front end and then went and missed a couple stages and finished it off. But
How many stages fired? How many rounds fired in that match?
I ran out of time on a couple stages, but I think the count was 237.
Wow.
I think.
Yeah.
That's a lot of shooting.
Yeah.
It was a
and
lot
it
of
was
shooting.
warm.
That's a lot of shooting for the money.
I got a barrel hot. I can say that.
Rob Quigley and team do a great job. Jeff Oder, Andy as well, Andy Kuzman. They're a good team, good guys, man. Wade Sproul, those guys kill it for us. Really appreciate them.
And great support from Mile High. They really stepped up and brought a lot of stuff to the price. Yeah, well, made it very unique.
Well, he definitely made a challenging course of fire, because if we just look at the distribution of points, we had a couple guys that were right there at the top. We've heard their names before. And the core of the shooters here were right around the 55 to 65 percentile. So a lot of people were challenged, but overall, pretty good. Pretty good distribution. But yeah, there was definitely some challenges on this match.
So in 2 weeks, we have Derek Love, who is becoming like an internet celebrity. I, for one, am a fan. He's always up to some shenanigans and giving our mother match director, Justin Watts, a hard time. His Punisher Positional in Kansas is going down 2 weeks from now. There are spots available for that match. I've seen that he's done a lot of construction upgrades to his match. I think it's going to be a super solid match. Oh, and by the way, I saw the other day his trophies.
Oh, those
Did
are
you guys
legit.
see his? Those have got to be some
Those
of
are
the coolest
legit.
trophies I've ever seen.
Do they
So I
light
think
up?
this is one to make. What's
Yeah.
that?
Do they light up?
No,
No.
they're crimson red. They're the Punisher.
Punisher logo?
Yeah, they're the Punisher skull dripping red blood. It
Cool.
looks wicked.
It is a Punisher positional, so if you like shooting positional stages and you want to test your skills, or if it's something that you really want to practice and you don't get much opportunity to practice positional skills, this is definitely going to be a challenging match from the input that we're getting so far from them.
Follow-up after that is going to be Butch's Oklahoma shoot. I've attended this match no less than 2 times. It is a good time. You do literally shoot in the windmill farm that we were talking about. The wind is legit at his match. It always is. Butch does a tremendous job. He's a true supporter of precision rifle. He loves the sport. His heart is in it 100%, and he's amazingly generous and giving, both in his matches and in general.
Yep.
Now this one, we do see the troop line used, right?
Correct. Oklahoma troop lines are one of his go-to. Everybody lines up. Everybody gets 2 shots on one particular target, and then everybody moves on to another target. It's the Oklahoma troop line. If you ask Oklahomans, that's the absolute only way you should be shooting. And all of this California, what do they call it? California circus bullcrap needs to stop. But
you mean the positional stuff?
Yeah, correct.
But I heard he's going to
Barricades.
have a little bit more positional this year to accommodate us West Coast guys.
Is that right?
Or
I
West
heard.
Coast?
I don't know if
Okay.
that's true or not, but that's what I heard. But I did hear he's definitely bringing back the shrimp oil.
Oh, that was a good time. That was a good time. That was one of the best get-togethers that I've been a part of in the National Rifle League. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Just so after that, man, this is the flagship shoot. This is one of the more famous shoots in the entire country. One of the shoots that really got precision rifle to be an organized sport is going to be the TBRC, Tactical Bolt Rifle Challenge in Northern California.
Yeah, California representing.
So I was driving back from an advanced pistol class when registration opened, and I made the guy I was with pull over so I could get on my phone and register that minute that it opened, because I did not want to miss it.
Yeah. And that's got to be our quickest selling match. I mean,
Oh,
it
yeah.
was over and done with lickety split.
Yeah.
I've done it every year since I've been shooting. It is a good time. Justin Legge, he knows how to run a match. The NorCal crew is the most organized, dialed in shooting club in the entire country. I mean, they have a waiting list of people trying to get in, and the members are dedicated and always make sure that the shooters have a good quality time.
And it's one of the largest clubs in the country, if I'm not mistaken. I think they have like
Easily.
Yeah.
It's like a waiting list to get in the club.
just to get in the
probably.
club. Yeah, it's insane. And what's really unique about this, is they're shooting on it's an NRA approved range or sanctioned range or whatnot. So they don't have huge, crazy, props and stages and weird terrain. It's not a field style match, but they still make it challenging. They still make it a lot of fun. It is a limited match as far as members. I mean, competitors. It caps off around 80, if I'm not mistaken. So that's why it's one of the hardest and most fun matches to get in.
Yeah, great match. Staple in the community, and we're so proud to have the TBRC in the National Rifle League 2018 lineup. It's in Washington. That's going to be Doug Glorfield's Rock Lake shoot. I believe that's going to be the one that I am going to attend along with my beautiful wife.
And you have Doug on the west that just does a phenomenal job with a very well-rounded style of match.
And
Doug's a funny guy to me because he's kind of like a Pacific Northwestern beach bum. I don't know. That's not to. He's always so laid back. Like, hey man, it's gonna be cool. Like, hey, what are we gonna do? It's gonna be fun, man. You know what I mean? He's got that laid back attitude. I really dig Doug. He's a good guy. Which leads us into the championship, hosted by our guys, Jack and Nate.
Jack.
These guys
Jack.
are awesome. These two guys, they ran the inaugural shoot in 2017 for the National Rifle League, and they really set the tone as far as what the National Rifle League is going to be, the community that we're going to have, and we had a good time both on the range and off. So for 2018, I had to do a little bit of begging, a little bit of pleasing, got Jack Wilson and Nate Lauerman to run the championship for us in October.
Well, I want a rematch after the first season, so I really hope I make the championship.
I think you're going to make it.
You're gonna make it. And the interesting thing with the Idaho boys running this match is they've, for the most part, have taken a majority of this year off from hosting their monthly matches. They haven't done a whole bunch of it, which means that they're coming at this championship hungry. They're coming at it creatively. Every time we get on the phone or ask Jack what's going on, it's Jack. He has some kind of smart ass remark, and
First off, he makes some kind of unsavory remark about my mother, and then usually Nate picks up the ball and goes after the business.
Right.
So that's usually the situation.
So they're keeping us in anticipation as well, but promising us a great event.
And now we're going to discuss what it's going to take to get into the championship, the contenders and the top 10. To start that off, let's go over the stats of the top 10 so far this year.
For the top 3 right now, we've got Jake Vibert, John Pinch, and Steve Ames, and they're all really close right now. It's about 2 points out of a possible 300 total. So any one of them, one more match, and they could jump up and take the lead.
Yeah, Jake Vibert's putting in a solid performance. Only 3 matches shot so far this year. He's won 2 of them with 295.34 points. Vibert's a powerhouse. We're looking for good things from him. Right behind him is John Pinch. John Pinch, well-known big time hunter,
Yep.
big hunting enthusiast, got into precision rifle to hone his rifle shooting skills, and I think that he's definitely accomplished that mission.
Well, John's done 5 of the 9 matches so far, and his scores are right up there. He's just a little bit away from winning another match, I think.
293.23 points, which means that Steve Eames in 3rd place is only 0.03 of a points behind.
Yep.
Now, I'm rather impressed with Steve Eames this year. I mean, hey, listen, he was a good shooter last year, but he was not a top shooter. He came out this year on fire. Steve's been lighting it up. I got to figure out what his secret is. I don't know if maybe it's the Viking beard.
It could be.
Weave, because if so, I'm going to have to go ahead and get some of those implants.
Well, he did have a rough start. His first match was the Owens Armory match,
Uh-huh.
and he got a 71.76 there. But after that, he won the next match in Washington. So he's definitely figured something out, and now he's on a roll.
Yeah, we got to figure out what his strengths are, what his secret is.
The secret sauce?
His secret sauce. We got to get that. We got to harness it. And we got to bottle it.
Yep.
We got to sell that to people. 4th place, a little bit of a gap. Top 3's right there. A little bit of a gap. We got Rusty Ulmer, the dentist.
Now he's over with Axis Works now.
He is with Axis Works. I don't know what it is. I like Rusty. I think Rusty's okay. I don't like dentists, generally speaking.
Oh, dentist.
Yeah, I'm not a dentist.
I thought it was Dennis.
Dentist. No, not dentist. Dentist.
Oh, all right.
I don't like dentists. You're basically signing up to administer yourself pain. It's not cool. But Rusty Ulmer is cool, and also in 4th place. 5th place.
We got Carl Ross here. Now, Carl is 2 points behind Rusty.
Yeah,
2
he's
percentage
not that far. He's right there.
Yep.
Another guy, 3 matches.
Well, he's done the three required, but if he does a 4th, he can jump up and put himself in a better space for the championship, which we'll talk about later. I'm sure.
Yeah, we're looking for good things coming from Carl Ross. 6th place, Niles Foley. Niles Foley's a little bit back. 6 points behind another guy with 3 matches.
Yep.
Shooting real consistent, real solid. We had a discussion about Niles. We believe he's some kind of a foreigner. Not holding that against him. We take all comers.
Well, we'll be the International Rifle League before you know it.
Yeah, it'll happen. It'll happen. Good things coming. But we would like to know what nationality he hails from.
I'm sure he'll tell us.
Okay, cool. We got it.
Right?
You're
going to come tell us, right, Niles? All right.
That's what we got going on. So, Niles Foley, 272.65 points. Then, my boy, Philip Vallejo, former Marine Corps Scout Sniper. I guess if you're a Marine, you're always a Marine, right?
Semper Fi.
But he was a Marine Corps Scout Sniper instructor, now instructor for Gunwerks. Right on the heels of Niles Foley with 271.29 points.
Yep.
8th place, Regina Milkovich. She's not going to need that ladies invite to get into the championship, that's for certain. Regina, three matches shot, 267.61 points. Solid showing from the Wonder Woman. 9th place.
It looks like Joe Talley.
Joe
Talley. Right there. He's a couple points behind Regina.
Good guy. First year shooting national level matches.
And he's put in 5 matches this season so far.
Yeah, had some good solid showings. Looked like the last match he went to Colorado, had a little bit of a rough time. It happens.
Yeah, he's not the only one.
Good things coming from Joe Talley. And then 10th place.
10th place, I wonder who that is. He might be sitting at this table.
Yeah.
His name is not me, it's Tyler Frainer.
Yep. So that is a brief talk about the top 10. Let's briefly discuss the stats for the individual classes. Now, the National Rifle League is everybody versus everybody, but we do recognize 2 individual classes which we think are important to precision rifle shooting. First one being ladies, second one being young guns. We certainly got a lot better participation in ladies than we do the young guns. Now, how championship qualification works is if you qualify for the championship as though you were an open shooter, then those places don't come from that class.
Okay.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we have probably at least 2 ladies, if not 3, that are going to qualify from the open series. Is that correct?
Right now, the numbers are, it's questionable whether or not it's 3. Right now, I'd say a steady, the top 2 ladies are going to get in under the open class. And after that, we'll have to start using some ladies slots. But it's going to be close. It's going to be close.
Total of four qualify outside of the open class qualification.
Right.
So I think that what you're saying is you're confident that Regina Milkovich and Ray Hong are going to qualify within the open class. And
right now, yeah, that
Okay.
looks like that's how it's going to work out.
Okay, cool. So that's our ladies class. Of course, you know, a couple more matches. We've got 5 more matches in the regular season. So then the Young Guns.
The Young Guns. So we've got 2 guys in Young Guns that are just duking it out for that top spot. And and I have to say, from the bottom of my heart, I want them both to win. We've got Nick Crawford, who is my homie from Sin City Precision and Owen's Armory. And we have Carson Rutherford, who's part of Team XLR. So right now, Carson just edged out Nick from the Colorado match, so he just bumped up. They're within about 4 points from each other, so they're going to make it in.
Both of them, regardless.
Yeah.
And by the way, if we got 2 more Young Guns that sign up, either one of those are going to get an invite to the championship.
Yep.
So moving right along, we're going to have Greg talk extensively about the stats for the individual classes, along with some trends and some histograms.
Well, for the individual classes, we kind of talked about where everybody was. The trends aren't really that much for the individual classes, but to get into the championship, that's really what everybody cares about. I know we've gotten a few messages lately. Hey, am I going to make it in? I want to get a hotel room, all those types of things. So what we've done here with the NRL is we've looked at everybody who has done at least 1 match. And from there, we looked at the trending of each individual competitor, and if their performance continues, where will it land if everybody does at least 3 matches to qualify? And that's kind of an important thing right now. There are some shooters that are down the leaderboard right now, and honestly, all they got to do is show up and perform to their normal abilities, and they're going to jump up and possibly in the top 10.
Okay, so let's talk about that. So what he's talking about specifically, we have some guys with some strong points on only 2 matches.
Yeah.
Meaning 1 more match. Basically, if they're just a warm body at the match, they're going to qualify for the championship. If they go ahead and perform like we've seen them perform, probably going to be right up in there for the checks.
So the 2 people that have 2 matches in right now, and their performance in the past is a strong indicator they're going to be in the top 10 easily, is Greg Myrick and Matt Medeiros. I mean, these guys, they were scoring 98s, 95s. Matt won a match and then he got a 92.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for those guys, please show up and jump on up there in the leaderboard.
Matt won the Dog Valley match. Matt walked away with a real sweet Vudoo rifle. Good on him. Solid win in a tough field of competitors.
Yes. Keith Baker's another one there. Keith has 2 matches under his belt. He won 1 match, 88, 89 percentile for another one. So he's right there. And just below him, two guys that have 2 matches under their belt, is Austin Orgain and
Last year's champion.
Yeah.
Last year's champion.
So he's got to show up, and he's good. You know?
Hey, one of these matches is in Oklahoma. And he shoots for Butch's. I can almost guarantee he's going to be there. So yeah.
That'll probably be his 3rd match, and if he performs like he has been, some other people are going to get probably bumped down a little bit.
Hey, it's what I've been explained to me is this: I'm more or less the host of this show. I get to talk about what I want to talk about. So let's talk about Matt Levine a little bit.
Why?
Do you think he's going to get a kitchen pass and put in his 3rd match? I don't know.
I don't know.
Calling you out, Matt. Calling you out. Show up, bro.
You know, he does. What is he shooting, a dasher?
Right. Some kind of feminine caliber. I'm not sure exactly
so,
what. No judgments. No judgments. We take.
Well,
you know, we're open. We're open-minded. Not that big a deal.
I don't know. You never know. Maybe Matt will step it up and actually show up.
We are going to talk now about the statistics on how to qualify for the NRL matches and how all matches are more or less competitive and equal.
Well, you know, we've tried to make sure that every match is designed in a fashion so that it doesn't matter which matches you show up to. You kind of have the most fair method to get into the series. It's not like, oh, well, if I show up to these 3 matches, I have a better chance of making it to the championship.
Why don't we just say? Can you say? Well, let's say the word out loud.
What word?
The meatball word.
The meatball word.
The meatball word. We don't got meatball matches here.
We try not to. Our match that was the night match was the closest thing I could say to a meatball match. I mean,
Right, but Justin Watts was expecting some pretty severe,
Yeah.
pretty standard Oklahoma winds.
and I was out there shooting at 1,000 yards, and I can't see misses.
Yeah.
I can't see trace. So
Absolutely.
they made the target size for that, and the spread showed that there were people that were challenged. But that one had some bigger targets, so a lot of people kind of trended a little bit higher. But would I call it a meatball match? No, it wasn't everybody who was giving points. I was there.
Okay. So now, I really got to put you on blast. Call you out, Greg.
Okay.
This is what we hired you for. This is why we're paying you the big bucks, because you are
I'm getting paid?
Well, hey, let's not get ahead of ourselves. This is a 501c3 charity organization. However, you are a rocket scientist, nuclear physicist of plastics. So you go ahead and tell us, what do you think it's going to take for actually what is only 4 more opportunities to qualify for the championship match?
Okay, so if we look at how we calculate it, it's essentially you have your top 3 scores, and that's what gets you into the championship.
Correct.
So if we look at that and we look at the trending of who's put scores in, if no one else who's an NRL, if there's no one else who is going to become an NRL member, so just the people we have right now, and if they all perform similar to how they've done, and if everybody gets in 3 matches, the magic number for the adding up of your top 3 scores is 210 points.
You think 210 points is going to get it done?
That I would say with high confidence, if you have 210 points, you will get in the championship.
Okay, very
Because
good.
there's always some people that aren't going to show up. And the reason for that is we've looked at everybody's scores. The average score of everybody so far, so if you took the average of every individual score, it's a 70.6, right around there. So 70 percentage points for an individual match, and that times 3 puts you at 210. So if you just shoot above average, you're going to get into the championship.
The way that the National Rifle League rules work, which the match directors all vote on, is we are going to invite top 4 ladies that did not qualify in normal points like we discussed. Top 4 young guns that did not qualify in normal points like we discussed. Looks like that's going to be 6 people that are going to get invites
Right.
that way. That's what I'm going to say. That's a
That's
strong
a
guess.
fair
Is that a
statement.
strong guess?
That's a
Okay.
fair statement.
Then we have 15 invites. Each one of our match directors who also serves and works hard on our board of directors gets 1 invite each. There is no other way to qualify for the championship match. So there's 99 spots remaining. This is the plan. The National Rifle League, under the capable leadership of the statistics and analytics support of Greg Pyatt, is going to come up with invites for the top blank number of shooters at 2 months out. How many? What's an educated
So-
guess from a nuclear polymer
Dude.
rocket scientist physicist?
I would say if we start with 40 right from the get, we can get those people all locked in, and then probably about a month after that we can get another 30,
Okay.
and then after that it'll all be where
The last-
where the float happens.
The last 2 matches.
Yeah, because we talked about 5 people right now that could jump up into the top 10 quite easily. So I
Absolutely.
mean, those people are going to push everybody else down.
The wild cards.
Yeah, I mean, we got to get people to come in and get those shoots, and that's why I was looking at the trending and saying, okay, if we have 210 points, if everybody does the same as how they've been doing, 210 points is that magic number to satisfy that 99, 100 shooters. Let's think about one thing. Somebody asked me, why is it that I want to sign up for another match? I've got 3 under my belt. I'm at the magical 210 mark. Why bother showing up? So the thing I keep reminding everybody is, if you sign up for another match and you shoot better than how you have been, so as the season gets on, you get more practice, you shoot better, your scores go up. That puts you in a better spot for the championship. So I believe it's the first 3 or the best 3 matches plus whatever you score in the championship, and that's what puts you in walking the prize table. And
Yep.
that prize table at the championship is off the hook.
Yeah, it's lucrative. Like we talked about in Vegas last year, we had $15,000 in cash prizes. We had $100,000 in products, and we're looking to do the best we can this year to come close to that, if not top that.
Right.
That is the goal of the National Rifle League, and as we talked about with our sponsors in the next section, We got a lot of sponsors out there that are hopping on board. We got strong industry support, and we're really looking forward to their support in the championship.
I mean, we've got a lot of guys right now that are 3-4 points apart. So we've got 5 people that are maybe 5 points differentiating between each other. That's like a trigger press at times, depending on that. So if you think about it, hey, you know, I'm really good at positional. I'm shooting that Punisher positional. I'm going to score a bunch of points. That's going to bump me up above 4 guys.
Yep.
Now you're at a better spot in the championship. You do well there, Bob's your uncle.
Yeah, I like wind. I shoot well in the wind. I'm an Oklahoma guy. I like prone shooting.
There you go.
Let's go to Oklahoma. Let's shoot butches.
Yeah, and I think that is something that I need to try to get in. I know I got NorCal coming up, but I'm doing that because I want to place higher for the championship.
Well, and also, you know, the TBRC is a legendary match. That doesn't hurt. So there you go. That's the wrap up. We have the Punisher positional with spots available. TBRC is filled up. That means you got Oklahoma, Butch's Oklahoma match. That means that you have the Washington Rock Lake match hosted by Doug Glorfield. That's your opportunities to up your standings. That's their opportunity to up your walk on the prize table.
And if you haven't become an NRL member yet, you could become a member, and you've got 4 choices to get matches in and meet your minimum 3 and qualify.
Yeah.
And that'll really upset the apple cart on some people.
Well, as you guys can all see, we choose our people wisely. Got Greg here, has got this thing figured out, running on rails. We got a clear direction forward, and that is going to be the goal for the remainder of the 2018 National Rifle League season. And now for the 2018 mid-season sponsor update report, starting with Travis Ishida.
Hey guys, we're going to start off with our title sponsor, Nikon. At SHOT Show this year, Nikon introduced their first focal plane FX1000, and it has been a tremendous scope. It is currently out, available online and in retail stores. Not only did they introduce the black FX1000, but they introduced the black Range X 4K laser rangefinder, which has got phenomenal reviews and is definitely taking over the market as the go-to laser rangefinder.
Next up, Benchmark barrels. I have extensive knowledge of Benchmark barrels. I shoot a Desert Technologies rifle, which has the ability to switch calibers out. I have shot, I don't know how many, probably 10 to 15 different Benchmark barrels. Specifically, the 6.5 8 twist is a phenomenal barrel. If you ever have any needs with barrels, I would highly encourage you to call Benchmark. Specifically, talk to Courtney Fleming, who, as Travis pointed out, is a very good shooter, but I can guarantee you this, she knows barrels inside and out. You tell her what your application is, what caliber you want, she will direct you towards the good caliber. Also, Benchmark has a couple other things going on besides barrels. They have t-shirts available for both men and women. They have steel spiked feet for Harris S-type bipods in their own line of muzzle brakes.
Yes, sir. And those spiked feet are actually phenomenal. We had the opportunity to purchase a set from them, and they are great, but they're sharp. So be careful. Yes, I have stabbed myself, but I did survive.
Also usable as an impaling tool, come to find out.
Of course, right? So next one up is Howa, one of our favorite production sponsors. They are coming out with a 6mm Creedmoor. This is huge steps for the industry to see manufacturers this size coming out with these quote-unquote exotic calibers. Howa has been in the game for a long time, and they are really stepping up their production and their market share into the precision rifle demographic. So keep an eye out for Howa, as they are doing all things great, not only in the precision rifle and hunting world, but for the NRL and the shooting sports.
Awesome. Next up, Alpha Munitions. I had the privilege of speaking with Bob and Andrew from Alpha Munitions at the Dog Valley match. I've been shooting 6XC for many years, and I have purchased thousands and thousands of rounds of brass of 6XC. Thought I knew the cartridge inside and out. Thought the brass was somewhat of a weakness, but I do love that caliber. I mean, the go-to load just automatically shoots. These guys told me that they came out with a 6XC in their excellent line of brass, gave me some excellent information. I came straight home, ordered 500 rounds of it, and I'm really excited to get it and shoot it. Also, they're making 22 Creedmoor brass, which is new, and they're moving to a larger facility in Salt Lake City, which is going to triple their output. And from what we hear, they're going to have brass available in Canada and Australia as well in just a couple months.
That's awesome. Those guys started off as a small company not too long ago. To see growth in the industry like that's phenomenal.
Very cool. Good people.
All right, one of our longest and strongest supporters, Kelby's Inc. Kelby's this year has launched their new Black Bear Tactical Action. It is a fully integral with square footprint, black nitride finish, the whole 9 yards, and it is a beast. This is supposed to be one of the best new actions on the market. And not only did they introduce a new action, but they also introduced a new warranty program. It's unconditional, 100%, which means if you break it, they'll fix it. You can't beat that kind of customer service.
Absolutely not. Call Ian up there. Kelby's awesome company. Next up, XLR Industries. I've been a big fan of XLR Industries since I got into precision rifle shooting. My good friend Aaron Suzuki bought a second-hand Remington 700 and it showed up with an XLR chassis on it. Had a couple problems with it. He gave XLR a call. They didn't question anything. They said they think it's the fault of the chassis. 2 days later, sent him a brand new chassis. Didn't even ask for the old one back. Customer service like that is what makes companies like XLR awesome. Additionally, I was extremely impressed early on with how adjustable the XLRs are. I had one of their Element chassis, yep. And I was shooting it and my dad saw it and fell in love with it. Now, although I'm only 5'9" tall, my dad's a big guy. He's like 6'1", 6'2". Adjustable, had no problems getting behind it. Janae wanted to do something a little bit different, got behind one of my other Elements, adjusted it down to her small frame at 5'2", and the rest is history. She now shoots for Team XLR. Amazing company with amazing products. Try them out, you won't regret it.
I agree, love the XLR. They're doing phenomenal things, especially their modularity and the fact that they listen to what the shooters want and they're constantly improving upon what they've already have as a great platform.
Absolutely. The Envy is a perfect example of that. Come out with a brand new chassis, little bit of shooter input, boom, they make a full-length Arca rail, and then the next thing they hear is they want a little bit more weight, create a solid fill. You don't get that kind of customer feedback and industry support anywhere else.
I agree. So basically what we're telling you is if you're a new shooter and you're looking to build a rifle, you've got XLR, you've got the new Kelby's Black Bear, you've got a benchmark barrel, you've got NIKON glass,
with Alpha Munitions brass.
There you go. What's left? Well, we got a surprise for you. We picked up a brand new sponsor this week, and it is...
That's going to be Timney Triggers.
Timney Triggers. One of the longest manufacturers, right?
Of triggers. Quality triggers.
Quality triggers. And I had the opportunity to spend the past couple of days with them in Phoenix and take a tour of their facility, and it is phenomenal. I had no idea how much goes into the manufacturing of these different triggers. And they gave me a sneak peek of what is to come in the next couple of months, which we will be sharing with you soon.
Very awesome. Yesterday I installed a brand new Calvin Elite trigger in our Ruger 1022 and put it through its paces in the NRL 22 match today. Very impressed. Quality product.
So, for our sponsors, that's what we have for our mid-season report. Tons of new things happening. There's a lot of sponsors that are supporting the NRL that have things that are coming out later this year, which we will keep you guys informed on.
Okay, that's going to be the conclusion of the 2018 National Rifle League mid-season report. We appreciate you joining us. Also, check us out on www.nationalrifleleague.org. Also on Facebook is National Rifle League, Instagram, and YouTube. From us to you, pew, pew, pew. That was at you, Armageddon Gear. We dug that video.